everybody. So this is the part of the live video where I talk about nonsense until people starts coming in. And I'm not sure what nonsense I want to talk to, but I got a pretty cool subject today. First, make sure you curl your goatees. So I'm participating in No Shave November, and the longer November happens, and it kind of started in October a little bit, just to kind of see what my facial hair would do, and I just look homeless. It's not working for me. I need some of that. I need to go find a wizard and be like, hey, I need a beard. And of course, wizards can do that. They'll be like, yo, you can have a beard. So I found my 10 millimeter in this nuts, and I'm really glad I did, because this is my favorite 10 millimeter because it has this red little thing on it. So I know when I look at my box, 10 millimeter. And I found it. I lost it yesterday and I found it. Like it's so obnoxious that this is the one stereotypical freaking socket that everybody loses. And here I finally lost one. Like, I took a lot of pride in the fact that I didn't lose my 10 millimeter because I have this cool system. But I freaking lost it. And you'll never guess where it was. It was in my, I have this little metal container that I put my wallet and my keys and my pistol in every night, and it was in there, of all places. But anyway, so we have another beautiful morning. I don't think this morning is as beautiful as yesterday morning was, but it's still not an ugly morning. It's all kind of drizzle, but that just means it rained last night. And so I had the wildest experience. I had somebody jump in and then they jumped right back out. Hate that. But all of a sudden, man, YouTube, then they just explode. Like, I get a bunch of people start piling in out of nowhere. There we go. What's up? What's up, Stu? And so I had this really neat dream last night, and I think it's a neat metaphor for how your mind works, how your mind creates chaos out of nothing. It creates chaos where it believes chaos is supposed to be. So in my dream, I was in my house, and my house was all shaped weird, like dreams often are. None of the rooms were where they were supposed to be, and the structure of the house just didn't make sense to the inside layout of the house. But you know, that's how dreams are. They just kind of mix stuff up as they go. But in this dream, I had my bike inside the house, had my mini bike in the house. And I was walking into the room where the mini bike was to go take it outside, because that's where mini bikes should live. They don't like being inside. It confuses them. They start thinking they're a cat. And it makes them all autistic and stuff, but whatever. That's a different story. And so I was going to go roll my mini bike out, and I saw this puddle underneath it that I thought was gasoline. And I actually can smell things in my dream. I can read in my dream. I'm just one of them freaks. And so I stuck my finger down in the fluid to see what it was, and I smelled it smelled like gasoline for a second. And then it's like, that don't make sense, because I drained all the gasoline out of the bike. Like, there shouldn't be gasoline under here. And then all of a sudden I looked up, and there was a massive hole in my roof. And you know, it was pouring water all over the floor, like a straight up stream. Like the roof was buckling in. You know how it looks when a house has a roof leak. So the roof was buckling in, and it was a bad situation. And not only did that one room buckle like that, but they all buckled like that. Like, every room in my house from that point on was draining rain. It was pouring rain in. It was terrible. And so I go outside to check it out, and I'm freaking out. It's not raining outside. This is what's wild. But you know how dreams are. They don't always make sense. You don't think about that. But I go outside, and now that I think about it, it wasn't raining at all. Where's this water coming from? And I see these big holes in my roof. Like, I see these big holes, these limbs that fell down, and You know, again, my house is shaped weird, and like I'm trying to figure out how to get up there so I can plug these holes. And then I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a roofer guy. And so I called a friend of mine in my dream, and I was like, the guy who actually did my roof. And I was like, Evan, man, the roof is leaking water. And, I mean, this is a new roof. What the heck, man? You know, I'm freaking out. Because the last time I called Evan about a leaking roof and freaked out, you know, he was like, dude, it's fine. You'll be all right. I got you. I got you. And that's kind of what I was hoping for again. But anyway, and by this point I woke up, and I'm still disturbed. And so I just kind of scrolled on my phone for a little bit before I got out of bed. And you know, I walked outside. I finally got up and walked out and started talking to my wife. And I was like, Tara, I had the worst dream ever. I dreamed our roof was leaking. And then I got to thinking about it. I was like, you know, that's a beautiful metaphor of how the mechanics of our mind. You know, I've been going through this thing where I've been doing this internal study of the different emotions that I have and the unconscious behaviors that I do associated with those emotions. And one of them is negative emotions. Negative emotion seems to stimulate the worst thoughts. Just like the water on the floor. Now, we could think about this. Water on the floor doesn't have to mean your roof's leaking. It doesn't have to mean your gas is leaking. Now, obviously, the water came from somewhere, but it doesn't have to come from the worst of places. But in my dream, where did my mind go? Straight to one of my fears. I have a fear that this roof I paid so much money for is one day going to leak, and it will, because that's what roofs do. They wear out and they leak. But I mean, the roof ain't but a couple years old, though. Why would it leak so soon? And not only is it a couple years old, but it's on top of the old roof, like the new. I put sheets of metal up there, and the metal's on top of the shingles. So I mean, I basically got a double roof. Why would it leak? And but it's interesting to me that my mind went to the worst place that it could possibly go, and that's what we do as people. Whenever we experience a negative emotion, we always auto default to the worst possible cause of that emotion. Maybe it's the weather. Last night I was kind of going through this at CR. You know, we had a baptism and everything was great. I had all the reasons in the world to be excited to be at CR last night. And oh my gosh, I was in the worst mood. And I really hope nobody last night picked up on it, but I was in the worst mood. And, you know, I didn't really want to be there. I wanted to experience the baptism, because it's the first time we've ever baptized somebody at a CR night. I wanted to experience all that. But man, I was just so freaking gloomy, you know? And I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to interact with anybody. I didn't want to participate. Man, it was just one of those, golly, I didn't even want to be around myself in that moment. And I noticed that every time I feel that way, my mind always goes to the worst of places. Like, you can't just be sad. You got to be sad because your marriage is failing. You got to be sad because your dog is dying of cancer. You got to be sad for all sorts of stupid reasons. And man, why does life have to be that way? Why does life have to be that way? I personally have no idea. Except for negative emotions seems to be more powerful than positive emotions. And it seems to be that the unconscious mind wants to feel the most powerful emotion it could possibly feel in a moment. Have you ever noticed when you're happy about something, man, you're super stupid happy? Or at least me anyway, maybe I'm just unstable, who knows? When you're sad, golly, the world is ending and your life's a sham. When you're mad, oh my gosh, everything is stupid and everyone, you hate everything. Why is it like that? Why is it like that? And so last night, I took the opportunity to practice this discipline I'm trying to learn. and capture thoughts, capture those thoughts. Anytime a negative thought hit my head that I knew wasn't true, I would take that thought and I would say, okay, is this true or false? Is this true or false? Because that's why God gave us a logical mind. That's why God gave us the ability to for logic and reason. So I would take this thought. Okay, I'm sad because of this. I'm gloomy because of this. I'm gloomy because of that. And then I would put it through this test. Okay, well, let's look for evidence of this. Okay, is my marriage a sham? Is my life a sham? Is everything that, I'm wanting to think in this moment really true? And the answer is no. No. My wife was actually in a really good mood last night, and so was everybody else. And everybody I've seen seems happy to see me. And I was glad to see them too, even though I was going through this internal apocalypse. And man, after a while of doing that, everything just stops. Everything just stops. And what I come to realize is most likely my emotional state came from the weather. I got problems in my back, I got problems in my knees, blah, 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 blah. And whenever weather like this comes through, like I'm in pain now, but whenever weather like this comes through, I hurt everywhere. And that's most likely the cause, and if you don't think that stuff won't affect you psychologically, it will. That's most likely the cause of the negative emotions I was experiencing. Yeah, pretty much. You're exactly right. When you're depressed long enough, you forget you're depressed. And I'm still wondering, what do you do with those experiences? Like, what do you do with those emotions? Because I can't imagine that if you're capable of creating realities, just like in my dream with the water and the roof, like I created that whole reality because a puddle of water on the floor didn't make sense, and it just spiraled out of control. Yeah, that's exactly right. You find life. What would happen if I started creating realities? Okay, this feeling I'm feeling is not the end of the world. This feeling I'm feeling is an opportunity for serenity if I just learn how to leverage it properly. I've also noticed too, because I have type 2 diabetes, when my sugar gets out of control, I feel really aggravated at things. Everything is aggravating, and my temperament, which is already short enough, is oh yeah, man, that's good stuff. Yeah, it's exactly what you do. You find life. But I've started using it like a check engine light too. Like, okay, what's going on? What's really going on? And 9 times out of 10, I'll check my blood sugar and it'll be off. Like, what a powerful telltale that is. Yeah, it really does. It really does. And so, man, I'll go for a walk, I'll drink some water, and then boom, everything's back like it's supposed to be. And it's so neat that we're capable of that, but it requires discipline, and I find that discipline is the last thing that people want to do. And me being a person, I'm not exempt from that at all. Discipline really is the last thing that I want to do. Yeah, I found that too. They really will. I try to lower it with everything but medicine, and it's a little more difficult because medicine is an easy fix, but it is possible, and I do it, and I don't suffer the consequences of eating weird medicines. It's a really old Mercedes. Just a random thought, like I would love to buy an old Mercedes just to say I had a Mercedes. But oh yeah, it really will. Sometimes medicine will screw you up. They'll screw you up. Like I tried Ozempic, and oh my gosh, man, I would recommend everybody stay away from that mess. It's awful. It is really awful. Popped blood vessels in my eye, swole up my neck, had trouble breathing. evacuated my entire system. You can imagine what that's like. It was awful. Yeah, they really will. And it's funny too how when you start eating right, your life starts acting right. It's kind of like these bodies are biological machines designed to run on specific fuels, and when you feed them those fuels, they seem to work better. They do. I've learned to love mushrooms, not the psychedelic types, just because you can't get your hands on them, and I don't want to trip. But like mushrooms, the different edible kind that don't mess with your head, I really, really like them. It used to be when I was a kid, you couldn't shove a mushroom down my throat with a. Yeah, I love me some Big Macs. I ain't a lot. You ever notice though? This is so random. You ever notice that McDonald's food tastes different than everybody else's food? Makes me really wonder what's in that meat. It's probably like horse or something. Who knows? Yeah. Hey, the horse is delicious. I'd eat it. I don't care. But yeah, it's a wonder though. Like when you going back to what we're talking about, it's a wonder that when you start putting that stuff in perspective, when you start capturing those negative thoughts. Well, I say negative. Let's say destructive, because I think that needs to be a defined difference. When you start capturing those destructive thoughts and putting them in their place, odds are all the stuff that you're imagining is not the truth. It's not the truth. And I see so many people, and for a while it was me included, so many people who live life with such high levels of anxiety because of what they create out of their imagination. And I'm going to tell you, there's no pill in the world that'll fix that. There's no pill, there's no magic medicine outside of discipline that's going to fix it. Now you will, the symptoms will subside, but here's the funny thing about our brain. It always wants to exist in a state of normality. And normality for me is a lot different than normality for you. Everybody's brain is different. We're the same, but we're different. And so if you have these natural proclivities to generate destructive thoughts, don't think that the medicine is going to keep that away forever. There's a level of discipline that has to be implemented. And not that I'm saying that everybody should get off their meds and, go become a Shaolin monk. That would be retarded. Although it'd be kind of cool to be a Shaolin monk. I'd love to be able to stick my leg behind my ear. That'd be pretty neat. But what I would love to see is, instead of expecting the medicine to fix the problem, these psych meds to fix the problem, you use it as an aid, a disciplinary aid, something to help you fix your brain's natural state of normality. Because if your natural state of normality is a constant generation of negative thoughts and negative emotions, then why is that? Why is that? And sometimes, and I find this to be true for myself, sometimes, those thoughts are so intense, and those emotions are so intense, they're like noise. It's like something screaming in your ear really loud. You can't think. It's hard to think. It's hard to concentrate. It's hard to rationalize anything when you have all this mental noise screaming at you. And sometimes you need help. You need help, and that's what professionals are for. But man, don't think that they can fix the problem. They can only ease the symptoms. You got to fix the problem yourself. That's if you want to exist in a state of function, going from a state of disorder to order. I find that I found this in a lot of people that I've known through recovery. I've witnessed people take their mental disorders and turn them into orders. They've learned how to, and I'm doing this myself, they learn how to restructure their own mind and restructure the way they think and to restructure their worldview, which is harder the older you get due to the lack of neuroplasticity that exists in your mind. But they learn how to do these things, and they go from being dysfunctional individuals to very high functioning individuals. And that should be the goal for us, as people. This is how we grow. And this is why we're capable of creating disorders. I believe this. We're capable of creating disorders, and I kind of believe that this is why that's the default, because it's easy and it requires little work and little effort. But anything that's free isn't worth anything. Anything that doesn't require work and effort is worthless for the most part. Free samples at Walmart, or when they used to sell them at Walmart, were always free. And when they sold them, you didn't have to pay anything for them. They also didn't get you full, unless you were sneaky and manipulative, or you just had some connections. But I've never gotten full walking around the store eating free samples. I really haven't, because they're free and they're not worth anything. But it's the work and effort that we put into our lives that inspire growth, that generate growth, and makes life worth living. It really does. If everything was easy, we'd be bored. And I find that too. When I'm bored, when I'm really bored and my mind is not occupied with something interesting, it will default to negative spaces. It'll default to negative things and generate negative content. And oh my gosh, don't get me started on these freaking reels and these shorts and these TikToks. Man, it's everything. When I just want to sit and relax and scroll, it's everything I can. I have to intentionally stay away from anything that's doom and gloom. I have to, because man, I'll scroll one and then watch it for a few seconds, and the next thing I know, I'm out there doom scrolling. Oh my gosh, the world's ending. Oh my gosh, save us, Trump. Oh, this person doesn't believe what I believe. Oh, they're terrible. Oh, look at this person. They're stupid because they believe something different. They're a political opponent. They're so dumb. Why don't they think like I? Man, I hate that crap. I'm so glad I'm done with that in my life. But you do have to intentionally scroll past that nonsense, or it will it'll get stuck in your feed. And it just shows me. I don't think YouTube is the devil. By no means. Here I am on YouTube. If I thought it was the devil, I wouldn't be here. But it just shows me that this is what people do. If this is what the algorithms pick up on, if this is what the algorithm thinks I want to see, it shows me that there's other people in the world like me that see these things and are interested in these things. And this is what people sit on for days on. This is what people entertain themselves with, negativity. And we really do. If you want to live a peaceful, blissful life, you really do have to put forth effort into not being negatively generative. I don't know, I'm making up words here. You have to put forth effort into not constantly going to that negative default. Just again, going back to my dream, just like my dream, did a little water on the floor really mean that the roof was just gushing water? Did it really have to generate into every room in my house, pouring water? And there's so much you can learn from your own dreams. I think Freud said the dream is the doorway to the subconscious mind, or something to that effect. And what do these different elements in your dreams represent? Why were they generated in the first place? And sometimes a potato is just a potato. But other times, there's some really things you can learn about yourself. And so, let's see what time it is. I only got 6 people left, so I'll go ahead and roll out from here. I want to remind you, for you 6 people that are left, I want to remind you that the world's a better place with you in it. Don't ever forget it. And to put forth some effort, man, join me in putting forth effort into finding that mental clarity that I know we all really want, but we don't seem to get, because it requires work, and it requires an investment on our part, an investment of discipline, an investment of pain. With wisdom, the price of wisdom is always pain. But I want to leave you guys with this. Just because you make mistakes and just because you're not perfect does not make you a mistake. You are worth it. You are valuable. Your life is precious. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste no more of it than you have to. Take some time to find serenity. Take some time to generate peace, generate function, generate order, and see what happens. So, with that, love you guys. Y'all have a blessed day, and we'll catch you on the fly.